Hello everyone, welcome to the race 2 of the IRS's Gt4 championship. Thanks for coming back for more. We're going to run through the starting lineup. We've got a little time here with this formation lap. Starting on pole is Mo Power. Starting on second is Timlor. Third position, Kanita. Fourth position is Moby 45. Fifth, we have Base Edition. Sixth, we have Viper. Seventh, last week's winner, led the Iron. We got Willow glitching out, unfortunately. Race Fan 8850. RRDZ in the Viper. Drummer. There were a couple other cars, other participants who also glitched out, unfortunately. We're continuing to have a problem, but nevertheless we have more racers this week regardless. Last week we had 8. This week we've got 10. I'm going to go with 10 approximately. Very unfortunate circumstance, something that we've got to work through. Perhaps somebody's conflicting with others in the lobby and causing a problem. But as I mentioned, last week's winner, back in 7th, picked up 3 percentage points of ballast, which added up to about almost 100 pounds. And up in 6th, Viper, who picked up 1 percentage point after finishing in 3rd, last on the podium. Gentleman Racing, who finished 2nd last week, is one of the cars, unfortunately, that glitched out. So it's going to be a DNF at that point. But we're closing in on the start and then the formation lap. This is quite a bull ring here at, I guess I should mention, we're at Blue Moon Bay Infield A layout. Coming up on the start finish. And they're off already. Turn 1's going to be a Mo Power. Makes good use of pole position. Maintains the lead through the first set of turns. But Timlor, who we know is quick, right on him. Followed by Moby, Viper, despite the 1% of ballast, and another Viper behind him, RRDZ. We have some drivers today who did not participate last week, partly due to the glitch, but also partly to real life schedules and somewhat. Timlor being one of them. He takes Mo Power in the hairpin on the inside, takes the lead. Moby, 3rd, is another new participant, and back in 7th we have Base Edition. Excuse me, a little frog in my throat this morning, so I apologize in advance for maybe having to clear my throat a couple times. Look at this side by side with the hairpin with Moby and Viper just sitting there waiting for something to happen, most likely to take advantage. Ooh, little contact. Oh, Timlor right to the edge of the course. I hate to think what would happen if he touched that grass. Timlor holding it through the infield. Moby goes a little defensive. It doesn't seem as a significant gap until you get to about 7th place, all the way through to 6th position. It's pretty tight still. And open up the telemetry for y'all. Sorry about this. Yeah, in final production, the viewer's not going to be able to see the telemetry that's typically displayed at the bottom of the screen, but I've got access to it, so I'll keep you posted on condition of people's tires and fuel and whatnot. Two more, holding steady, trying to open up a little gap. Viper getting out in the grass. It's a 30-lap race. Lasts us just about 40 minutes. Oh, a little argy-bargy there. Moby holds on to it though. It's tight. In some of these corners, they're not really situations where, or locations where you run too wide. So, really relying on one another's judgment and familiarity with each other to see how things go. Similar now. Holding that first position. Ooh, got a little. Let the iron. Ooh, in the grass for base. Oh, I apologize. Very, very sorry. Yeah, let the iron. Struggling with that 3 percentage points. Let's go back up to the front. So the top three seem to have broken away here. And it's no surprise that 2 of the 3 are competing in the first event of the season for them. So ballast is not a factor. And we all know from the first race that Porsche is quick and good on fuel. So it'll be interesting to see how it fares against these higher horsepower cars in the Corvette and the Mustang. So we've got the front 3, Viper in 4th, holding steady, and then we've got Led, RRDZ, and Kanita, who's started 3rd, but he's dropped down to 7th. Perhaps a mistake. We may have missed that. To be honest. There's no shame in that, though. There's some competent drivers, and we know from last week that Kanita's still in the middle of transitioning to the wheels, so really showing some good competitiveness, must be said. And we know that NSX is quick and fuel efficient, so we may see him regain some spots. It's already challenging RRDZ. Back in 8th is Base. One little mistake and sees him running alone. I think the best he can hope for at this point is that the cars ahead start dicing for position and he can make up some time. Running last lap was a low 112. And he's focused. You can see he's running some of his best times. But a low 112 as compared to a low 113 for Kanita, so perhaps he can make some progress and get back in the mix. Oh, we've got Mo Power up front and Timlor dicing yet again. Oh, going too wide. Back onto the front straight. Mo Power grabs a little bit of wall, so does Timlor, and there goes Moby. Seizes the opportunity to grab the lead. 2 positions in 1 corner. Should go out and maybe thank the wall there. because this is the problem. Once this Cayman gets in front of you, if he can hold his own on the front straight, where top speed's a priority, then he'll certainly be able to manage the infield a bit better than some of the higher power. Oh, gets out in the grass, keeps it together, but you have to think he lost some time there. Let's go on board with Mo Power. See what it looks like to chase this Cayman onto the front straight, where the Mustang's got the advantage in terms of power. Moby getting awful close to the wall there. Surprisingly, the Mustang doesn't so that's significant. Moby holds his own through the front stretch, so if he can keep the infield portion of his race clean, although Mo Power seems to be hanging with him. It's quite the exit. Let's see the actions like through the field. Viper in fourth. Nice gap to Kaneda. Kaneda's got 3 cars now. Led. RRDZ. And Base, who did exactly what we suspected. He was able to run some quick laps. And let's compare those laps. Yeah, ran a 1:11.9, squeezed a 1:11.9 on lap 7, and just reeled those guys back in. So now he's got to just keep it clean. And with 3 cars in front of you, I think you never want to wish bad luck on any other drivers. You want a straight fight, at least most of us do. But that being said, it's possible something could happen between drivers in front of you, so you gotta position yourself where you can take advantage. On board with Base. Not looking to make a move, really. See him managing the throttle. We'll have to come back to that to see how things develop between those 4. Kaneda's up in front in 5th, but he certainly has a lot to be concerned about. Led our previous race winner back there. Sure, he's got 3% additional ballast, but we know he's formidable. He really manhandled the field in race 1, so we'll see. Maybe he's just sitting back there looking to conserve fuel and stay among the top 4, 5. Let's see what the leaders are up to. So Moby extending the gap a bit, popping off fastest lap of 1:11.9 on lap 9. But it looks like Tim Lord gets a nice exit. Yes, gets a nice exit onto the straight. Side by side. This is falling right into Moby's hands. This battling here. Those two drivers, best chance is probably to work together. Although I'm not so sure that that's going to happen. You see the rubber starting to build offline already. Quite the gap Moby has opened up. But Tim Lure and Mo Power are just dead even, it seems. Viper running his own race. Well, it seems Kaneda maybe has closed a little bit. Seems like the group has closed a little bit. Perhaps, and he's suffering some tire wear on the passenger side front. Whereas some of the other cars also have more wear on the right front, but it's not as much. Kaneda's tires still looking good. Leads okay. And Base doing a fine job in keeping pace, but managing the tires. RDZ and the Viper as well with some significant front tire wear. And he's pitted. Lap 13 brings it in early. Not the only one. Kaneda comes in, and Tim Lore. Race fan who we believe has not pitted. So really here we're trying to see if Kaneda can close in on Tim Lore. Seems the Corvette's rather thirsty because there was quite a gap between Tim Lore, who was in second, and Kaneda, who was in fifth, yet coming out of the pits they're pretty close together. Can we see? Yes, Moby bringing it in. The end of 14, end of 15 rather. Mo Power stays out. Just gonna drain the fuel tank dry on the Mustang. Trying the overcut, which is very difficult, if not impossible to do to the Cayman. It just ever so lightly sips fuel. So something for future consideration. Base and lead, 3rd and 4th respectively, but they haven't pitted. So we shall see if they come in. I'm surprised at the Ferrari matching the Porsche in fuel efficiency. So that's gonna be a significant factor come the closing laps of this race here. Mo Power in the pits. What we're seeing is, although soft tires and mediums are available for use, because you're not required to use both, but seeing that they're both available, everyone's essentially opting for the soft at this point in time. I don't think we've seen anyone go with the mediums, which is just a feature of the game itself. It's just the lap time drop off is just so significant that it doesn't make sense to do something different than the competitors. So here we see Moby, who has pitted, drawing in on Base, who has not. That's the kind of lead that he's created for himself. In fact, we got Moby and then Timlor about 5 seconds back, and that's really the battle we're looking at here. Viper brings it in. Lap 16, really stretched it out. Tires aren't too bad, actually. Viper dropping down the order after the pit stop. So we'll have to see how many, if any, positions he gains. No power. No power looks like he had some damage, and that prolonged the stop because he's come out down in 7th behind Viper. He's gonna have to battle back to get back in that top 3. Sit with Mo Power here to see how he makes out. It's gonna be tough. Having raced against Viper, yeah, he's aggressive. He's not one that you're gonna get by easily. A little wall scrape there. Viper got a nice launch out to the front straight and has the draft from lead. Flash of the lights by Viper. Makes a move. Makes a move to the inside of lead. Lead gets a little bit of the grass. Keeps it together though somehow. This is just what Mo Power needed. Lead takes a look to the inside. The more time Mo Power spends trying to get by these guys, the more you got Timlor and Moby just pulling away. Closing in on lap 20, and Base Edition still has not pitted. He's got to be coming in now. I'm looking at his fuel. There's no way he's going to pull it off another lap. So stretches the fuel run 19 out of 30 laps. So he's going to have nice fresh tires at the end. And I'm sure he'll be taking softs. And he'll have a lightweight car needing to only complete, what, 10, 11 laps. This should be interesting. There's Moby. Tim Moore. I did it again. So Mopar gets up to 5th, but what I can't tell you, although we didn't see it, perhaps I'll attach it at the end. Here on lap 19, that he came in, he caught a little bit of the grass going into the hairpin under the bridge, compromised his braking, and gave Viper quite a wallop. Both drivers able to continue, but in the future what we'd like to see is if you put someone off, is to wait for them to regain position, give them back the position, even if you lose some, and then regain racing, because it's an unfortunate scenario. It certainly wasn't intentional. On the previous lap, coming here under the bridge, what happened was Mopar got too far over to the left, caught a little bit of the grass, and came into contact, rear-ended essentially Viper, spinning him. And, as we can see, Viper's back in 8th. That's not due to his pace. You know that he could be a little bit further up, even with the 1% ballast. So yeah, I mean, you know, take all things into account here in the future. Probably want drivers to, you know, relinquish the position, gain through contact, even if it's accidental. And I don't ever expect to see anything intentional in this series. You know, it's just racing. Moby, significant lead. Tim Moore trying to make up time. Kaneda in 3rd. And it looks like stretching out that first run has given Base the ability to pit and come out in 4th position. Really a magnificent management of the stint, the tires, fuel, everything really. So as he was sitting behind 3 or 4 other cars, he was most likely short shifting and conserving fuel, allowing him to run while still running. You know, look at the times, 113s. Yeah, 113s aren't fantastic, but with a few 112s sprinkled in, got him to where he is now. And he's got a decent gap back to Mopar, so we'll have to see. Is he gonna try to get by Kaneda? Oof, I'll tell you that. Coming off that banking there, nerve-wracking. But I digress. Yeah, I don't know that Kaneda and Base are going to be engaging in fisticuffs here with Mopar lurking in the background. And we know what Base is doing here. Just making sure Kaneda is aware of his presence. Maybe trying to induce a mistake here. I mean, and look. Let's do the right thing and go on board. To the inside. Backs off, even downshifts. And what I can tell you is that the tires are just in perfect condition. So he's got 7 lap. Oh, gets out into the marbles. Almost catches the grass. Kanita's tires, not too bad, but what is a little concerning is the amount of fuel he's got. I think Kanita may have shrunk from himself. I doubt Base is probably aware of this at this point. I think he's racing, he's running his race. And just waiting. The thing about this track is, you know, you can pass someone on the infield, but then they stay with you, you get on the front straight and they get back by you. So a little bit of tactics is certainly in order here. We'll let this continue here. Back up to the leader. So Moby. And I'll tell you, it looks like Tim Lore is slowly but surely reeling Moby in, running a fast sector there. Scraping the wall is not going to help. Let's go on board with Tim Lore, see what this looks like. Oof, significant. About 3/4 of the length of the straight for a gap. Five laps to go. The gap looks to be about 4 seconds. And you know, this is the thing about racing, right? So you would think that the Corvette would struggle to keep pace on the infield, yet Tim Lore is able to manage it beautifully, and actually closed it. He looks like he closed the gap a few tenths in the infield. That looms large because he's definitely got the advantage on the front straight. Thought he was going to get in the grass for a second there. So if you're joining us and you haven't seen race 1, I would encourage you to go back and see race 1 of season 2 here. But now that I've got a little bit of time here, a couple of laps, I'm going to just go over the format. The series is open to the Gran Turismo Sports Group 4 cars, but only the mid-engine rear-wheel drive and front-engine rear-wheel drive cars are permitted to run in the series. No all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and none of the front-engine, front-wheel drive Group 4 cars are eligible. We're kind of trying to model it after the FIA's GT4 category, which some of these cars actually fit into, and obviously some of them are fictional. There's no GT4 Corvette. That being said, Kanita and Base is still going at it. We're going to stay with the leaders as we're closing on the end. However, there's no tuning allowed, but we do employ a ballast system. First place finishers get 3% added ballast or weight for the next race that they compete in. If you miss a race, you don't get that ballast removed. You have to compete. Second place gets 2%, and third place gets 1% of ballast added, all for the next race. The only way to then lose that weight is to finish off the podium in subsequent races. But even at that point, you would only lose 1% of the ballast. So if you win race 1, you get 3%. If you finish off the podium and then race 2, you lose 1%, which drops you down to 2%. The point structure, Moby making it known that he's got to get by because Timlor is closing in. See the gap has shrunk significantly. Probably down to about, probably cut a second off, maybe more. See if we can count the difference with the Timlor's right on him. Lap 28. Wrapping up lap 29. Folks, the race has just gone by very quickly. Short track, minute 12, minute 13 second lap. 30 laps go by quickly. Let's go up one with Timlor. Do a lap. On to the final lap. Can Timlor close the gap and make the pass? Let's check on the third place. Base has gotten by Kaneda, and I can tell you, Kaneda mismanaged the fuel. Mo Power, 5th, led 6th. Two Vipers battling for 7th position. RRDZ Young Viper. Back to the leaders. So now we're about to wrap up this race here. What's gonna happen on the front straight? What is gonna happen here? Launch onto the front straight from the final turn is going to be critical. So touch of the brakes. Moby keeps it off the wall. And it looks like Moby's going to hold him off. What's the gap? Nearly 40 minutes of racing, and the gap is a quarter of a second. Base, excellent job. After some struggles to grab third, put himself in position to take advantage of Mopar's collision with Viper and Kaneda's fuel issue. Kaneda 4th, Mopar 5th, led 6th, RRDZ 7th, Viper 8th. With some damage. Looks like they may have collided. Oh yeah, severe damage. Oh, Argy Bargy. Yeah, it's some playfulness. I believe those guys are actually brothers. So, Race Fan in 9th. Quite a bit of scrapes and scratches. On Race Fan's car at the end there. But we have a photo from race 1. A good race. Continue to have some drivers glitch out at the start. We got to get that sorted. But thanks for joining us. Hopefully you enjoyed it. You can give us a like, maybe subscribe. And no race next week. We come back on the 21st for the next race, next round at Brands Hatch. Thanks for joining us.